Welcome back to another episode of the Free and Fully Expressed podcast. I am so excited today for our guest, Emma, and I'm just going to start by turning it over to her. We're going to talk about peaceful motherhood and what that is and all the other juiciness that decides to come through. But Emma, go ahead and give you a little introduction and a little bit about your story.
Sure. So my name's Emma Nagy. I'm the founder of My Lighter Way and the My Lighter Motherhood program. And the work that I do is really around pregnancy and postpartum and blending science and intuition to help moms prepare for postpartum while they're still pregnant, give them the tools that they need to stay mentally healthy, emotionally healthy, keep some of their energy postpartum. And then it's a program that the My Lighter Motherhood program is a program that supports them all the way through postpartum. So it doesn't just like drop off after you have your baby, it supports them for the full first year. And that's just like one of my very favorite things that I do. And I got into it actually after becoming a mum myself for the first time. I thought I was like preparing for baby in like all the ways. I love like learning. I have my PhD in mental health promotion. Like I just love learning. And so when I was pregnant, it was no different. I just like read all the books, listened to all the podcasts and everything. And I was like, hey, I'm totally ready. And then I didn't realize until hindsight that I'm like, wait, there are actually some really important ways to prepare for baby that just no one thinks to do, but can benefit us immensely. And that's like mentally and emotionally preparing for the exhaustion, for like the predictable and unpredictable challenges that come up in newborn life. And using my background and like my education, and I'm also a researcher in the public health field, I really value prevention when it comes to our health. And so so in my work now, I infuse in more the preventative pieces to help moms stay healthy
Better.
through the newborn stage. And because we can't control 100% of our health and all of that, also the tools that if we do start to feel worse, to feel better. So I basically created something that I would have absolutely loved had it have been out, and now offer that to other mums.
And that's so needed because when we think about it, I'm the same way too. My husband always says, like, I'm like the Hermione from Harry Potter. If you plan, you get there, all hell breaks loose. But I always have a plan. It may not go according to plan. And very similar in my story is like I thought I was like ready and knew all the things, and like divine purposely canceled the labor class, like, and they rescheduled it until after like my due date. And I'm like,
Mm.
well, that didn't. So I had to self learn, but I think that that's the whole point. Like that I was saying is like, okay, you always take in so much outside, like let's turn back in. And I think that's intuitively. And that's what I love how you have that. And it's not just a lot of the programs out there is like, here you're pregnant, like let's take care of you. No, like let's get you ready as the beautiful vessel and prepare you to bring life into the world. And while you're carrying that life, and also take care of you, like after the
Yeah.
fact too, like
Yeah.
because a lot of the times, especially I don't know if you related to that, like you give birth and so many times like everybody's all about the baby after like, oh, let me see the baby. And like I have one of my intentional things that I have with anyone that just had a baby in my life, whether family members, friends, I specifically like, oh, I'm so excited. Congratulations for the baby. How are you doing? Before I even touch the baby, before I even look at the baby, I love the baby, don't get me wrong, but you are my person too, and I'm gonna love on you as well. And I love
Yeah.
it. That's the support. And it's not about being perfect. We were talking about this before, is like it's not about having a perfect like view and it has to like fall in courting, is to have those buffer zones and have tools and resources and know like if things are starting to build up, I have resources and support systems in place so I don't feel so alone, because sometimes it can feel so alone in how to articulate. Because I remember a lot of the times people, a lot of times they didn't ask me how I was doing. But
Mhm.
like even if they did, I would say I'm fine because I didn't know how to articulate what I actually needed.
Yeah. Um, for sure. And yeah, like I'm just like, which direction do we take that in? Because that's why I support the mum, but also support the mum to like trust herself and tune into herself and figure out what her needs are. And we can do a lot of it in advance, like you said, like have a plan, right? But there also has to be an element of like flexibility
Room.
in the plan and how things unfold. And I think when we put ourselves up like at the top of the list, like we value being like present mums, caring mums, responsive mums, but we also need to value our own emotional and mental well-being and do things to protect it. Like especially like you said in the newborn stage, it's like what's going to protect your peace, and it looks different for all of us. Like some of us want to be like surrounded by like supports, and some of us, like I was like this, I just wanted like a cozy little bubble and like just to kind of see how I felt as I went along and then invite in those supports more as I go. But like a lot of these expectations and boundaries we can set in advance so you're not also having to do it in the thick of the newborn stage while you're sleep deprived, while you don't maybe know what you want or how you're feeling. And
And have like talk to your partner if
yeah,
somebody have that resource person of like, hey, shit's hitting the fan. Like I know I said this, but throw that out the window. This is not what I need right now. Because you may think, oh, I want to be
totally.
surrounded by the people I love, and I want all my family members to pop in and do, and like, and then you're like have this newborn and you're barely sleeping, and you're like, I just can't people. Like I love you all,
Yeah.
but I can't people.
Yeah.
It's okay. That is okay.
It's so
There's no guilt
true.
or shame in that to want that alone and breathing space too.
1,000%. I remember one of actually the cool ways that I used my intuition with after my first baby was so we ended up having breastfeeding challenges and he lost like more weight and we were on this just really rigorous, temporary but very rigorous feeding schedule. Like instead of him going into the NICU, my midwife was like, no, like you and your partner are such a solid team. Like I can give you the instructions and like you can like you don't like you won't have to go in kind of thing. And so we were on this really intense feeding schedule and I just remember there was like a point where like a parent, either one of mine or his, wanted to like come and visit. And like they're just like a quick visit. And I just like remember intuitively at one point being like, I actually need no visitors because I had noticed that like my milk didn't let down if like people were around. So even though logically I was fine with like breastfeeding in front of people or in public or blah blah blah, my body was like, nope,
Right.
not in the early
Like,
days. And so intuitively, I just knew that I'm like, we just need to like hunker down for I don't know how long and like figure this stuff out together and just communicated that. And then everyone was just like so happy to support us, because I think also there's like an art to setting boundaries and
mhm.
they can be done in a really loving way. And the people you're setting boundaries with, most of the time, we have family members who want the best for us and have our best interest in mind. And they are like more happy to support it rather than like being offended of like, oh, I can't see the baby?
And if you normally explain like why, without having to give all the details in that,
Yeah,
normally then
totally.
people are like, oh, because then they don't make up a story. Oh, she just doesn't like me. No, like she's
Yeah,
hearing. And what I hear in that is like your body just didn't feel safe yet because it was learning this new rhythm. And when all these other energies come in, it's like, I don't know what's going on. And it's like chaos. So it just kind of shuts down and it's like, I don't think I'm safe enough to do this yet is what I feel
yeah.
with that. So you're like, your body just needed to learn that rhythm with your little one and your partner and your little core foundation. So then you can build upon and
Mhm.
other people can come in. And
Yeah,
it's having that quiet to be able to say, like, okay, yeah, I can choose this and there's nothing wrong with that as
yeah.
well. And I
And it
love that.
wasn't, yeah, and it wasn't like this disempowering place either of like, I can't handle visitors. It's like, no, I recognize what I need and like, this is what I need. And I'm just gonna ask for it?
That need.
It's
And
like
it's
coming
really
from it
about
from
building
that
that
energy.
kind of safety from the inside out, like being safe with ourselves and trusting our own decisions in that and knowing that they can pivot. They're not like absolute concrete. It's but right here in this moment, this is what I need and that's okay. And I can shift that and really being able to vocalize that. And even when we don't have the vocal skills in that moment, because our nervous system's dysregulated in that moment, having somebody that is aware, and that's why the plans and things of like your partner knowing you enough to go, okay, I see it, and let me help support and communicate. I do that a lot with my partner, even without like pregnancy, is like I can see and know what he's trying to communicate, but it's not coming across and it's landing a different way. And
Mm,
then I'd be like, what he's trying to say is X, Y, and Z. And then it's like, he like has a relief of like, because you can feel the energy building up, like so frustrated, like I don't understand how I can say it, but when you say the same thing over and over again, like it's still not landing. So I'm like, let's just
Hmm.
try it from a different angle. But having that in that support system to be able to kind of have those pieces in there and really letting the idea go of like, yes, we have a plan, but there is no control or perfection about it. Like it's not about it has to be picture perfect. Every
Hmm.
story is going to be a little different. Every child is going to be a little different. You're a different person. They're a different person. Like everybody's in a different part of evolution, and being able to be in that moment and honoring the wholeness of it is.
Hmm. I think that just like helps us bring so much peace into things because say if there's like I don't know, like an uncomfortable moment, okay, like in the home or like something's not going picture perfect. Maybe you're like bickering with your spouse or whatever. I also just love to look at it as like it's like exciting in a way that there's like room to grow. Like there is room for it and there is like room to work through it. And I think as moms too, with like discomfort and constant change and constantly having to reassess. Like motherhood is just this series, right? Of like every chapter is new,
Mhm.
like every season is new. So getting more comfortable with the unpredictable, like with the messier moments and like being able to just like more relax into it. I think that's something I've really, really learned, especially since that first postpartum that I just use now. My kids are like 6 and 3 at the time of recording this, is just feeling more calm and relaxed and safe in the more chaotic moments of motherhood and like kind of juxtaposition or like the paradox is like what that does is it feels you're less likely to look at it as chaotic or
Yeah.
experience it as chaotic or messy. It's like, yeah, there are moments like many mornings where I'm trying to get the kids out to school and like, yes. And like, would I rather sometimes it feel less stressful? Yes, I would.
But that's how
However,
it's that energy spinning, and it doesn't have to be destructive and wild. It's like it's bringing all the pieces, almost like a Disney movie when they're building something and all the building blocks are coming together. Like that's how I see
yes,
it. Is like it could be from one view, it could be that's chaotic because all the things are flying. But like in
yeah,
the other view, you're like, oh, that's how magical is that all of these pieces are coming together, even though the nervous system's like, whoa, there's a lot moving around there. But it doesn't necessarily have to be a quote unquote bad feeling how
yeah.
we
I
define.
actually love that visual of like it's like the different plots. Like I'm just picturing like me and I'm like on my way to work after. So I've like just prepped my lunch, prepped my coffee. And then like my one of my children was like doing a puzzle and he didn't want to finish. He didn't want to leave without the puzzle being finished. And then my other one, what was he doing? He was like watching like trick shots on like YouTube. Like he loves like watching all these like little trick shots. And I'm like, it's like all of these different storylines converging to like get out of the house together. And I think that's wh why like it's not always like, I don't know, it doesn't sound like that fun or sexy, but like the nervous system work has done one of the biggest benefits to me as a mom because I notice now when I'm getting like more tense in that momentum energy and I can calm myself. And it's like, I think probably been one of my favorite things to do since pregnancy, since I had babies, and I like use it every day now is just like regulating myself, like picturing my energy, just like calming, like having a calm bubble of energy all around me. And then that benefits and like ripples out to our kids. Like they feel that. So that's like always a challenge to myself. Like when I,
Yeah, we co-regulate them. So their
yeah,
nervous system's still developing. So that's
yeah,
why a lot of people don't realize like we are their nervous system. We're in their extension. Their nervous system is an extension of ours. So when we're like in those stressful moments and we're not regulating ourselves, we're not creating that inner safety with ourselves, they're feeling it amplified. It's like little nerve endings. They're at the nerve endings and it's feeling like little sparks for them. And we wonder why they're acting out. So when our kids act out, a lot of the times what I do is go, okay, where am I at? Like, let's bring me down. Like, I can
yeah.
feel I'm spiraling, and they're actually just a mirror to me of how I'm
Mm,
feeling. And so, once I can come from a regulated space, you'll see how quick they flip, and you're like, oh, okay. And like, so even when they are starting to like ramp up, if I can ground myself, I can come that center and realize that their actions isn't like, I don't have to make it mean something. You know what I mean? Like it's just a dysregulation. It's okay. It doesn't mean that I'm a bad mom. It doesn't
Oh
mean
no.
that,
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? They're like, oh, my
Yeah.
kid's not being behaved. Like, oh, I'm going to be appreciative. Like, no, it's they're
Mm,
human and they're experiencing a big emotion that they don't really know. And they're really, that's their cry out of saying, help me regulate this because they don't really know. And then so taking those moments and allowing them to know that, hey, feelings are okay. Like this feels big. It feels scary. It's okay
yeah.
because we can do scary things. And it's all right. And one thing that I have done with my kiddos that I think has made the biggest difference, and I hear them share with other people, is I don't put myself on a pedestal. I'm a human. I make mistakes. I will admit those mistakes. When I'm
Yeah.
getting dysregulated and I need a moment, I will tell myself, mom's going to take a time out. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to step aside. I'm going to regulate myself. And I'll use those words, but then break it down because a 3-year-old doesn't know what the word regulate means, right? But I
Hmm.
use the language and tie it in so they can kind of start creating that vocabulary, that emotional intelligence in that. So it's like, okay, I need to calm my body now. So then I can show up for you. I can show up for me first. If I can show up for me, then I can have more to give to you. And then I talk about like filling the cup. So we have a capacity cup and we have a giving cup, and we have to make sure that we're regulating that because we want to give from overflow and not depletion. Just as much as I want that for you, I get to model that because you do what I do, not what I say. And a lot of people like don't realize that. Like they model us, they match our energy. And in that, so we taking care of ourselves is actually the biggest gift we can give them, is because we're setting the tone of the household of that. So when we create our own safety and regulate our own nervous system, it is the ripple that affects the whole family.
Yeah. So powerful. Can you share the capacity cup and the giving cup? I haven't heard you explain that before.
Yes.
Sounds
Okay.
so cool.
So I say a giving cup. So we're always like as mamas, we're giving like to our children, everybody, and so our cup can run empty, right? And so we always have to make sure that we're giving from overflow. So how I look at it is like, you know those big champagne showers? We want
Yep.
we want that cup on the top is us, and we're pouring in ourselves, and then we actually fill everything under us, right? In that champagne
Mm,
shower. Instead of just pouring out and then we have nothing left, and at the end of the day, we're like shaking the bottle and there's nothing in there. Like that is not the energy we want to do. So how can we create that overflow? That's how I look at it. That is like, okay, so when I feel like I'm getting past and my cup's not even empty, like I'm starting to feel like I'm not living from the overflow, what are the energy pieces? And it doesn't have to take a long time. Busy mama. I got 3 boys running everywhere. Like 5 seconds of just tuning in, taking a breath. What do I need right now in this moment? It can be a short little thing. It doesn't have to be 5 hours of meditation in that. That's a myth, I think, that a lot of people think like I need, or even
the
meditation. Like
quantity.
I can't quiet my mind. No, like no busy mama normally can like completely silence her mind. Like that's
Yeah.
okay. Like and that's normal, and you can acknowledge that, and knowing that the like your experience and whatever works for you is perfect. Like it doesn't have to be what somebody else does that works for them. You got to find your own rhythm. And then, so what I call capacity cup is like, this is the energetic space that we have right now. With all of the life situation, I have a capacity cup. Some days my capacity cup is smaller. Some day my capacity cup is bigger. And when I'm starting to get to the top of my capacity cup, I have to have two choices. Like I have to create more space, however that is, releasing, whether it's breath work, whatever, like releasing, creating more energetic space for that cup, or a way to stretch the cup in a healthy way, not cracking it open, right? Like, because if you're forcing it, then you're going to create cracks and then that's not going to help either. So I want to be able to create a space where I can empty the cup a little bit so I have more capacity to show up, or have a way to upgrade my nervous system, upgrade that capacity cup to hold more. And you can look at it into parenthood. Like I have capacity cup. How I look at it is like I have multiple. I have one for my business. I have one for me, my personal health. I have one for my children. Like all of these parts of it, and they all work together. So it's like I tune in and I visualize. Like I'll see. Okay, where's my cup at right now? Oh, I notice that it's starting to stretch. It's like one of those flexi cups where it's starting to bulge out in the pressure. Okay, so how can I release the pressure? How can I shift this and show up for me? It's all about turning back into me because I know that I'm the ripple effect. if I take care of me, then I actually am taking care of my children. If I take care of me, I am showing up for my business because I'm the domino that if it falls, like I can't show up anywhere.
Yeah. I think that's where it's so powerful too, to give ourselves permission to drop a lot of the guilt that can sometimes, like, I feel like there's just so much, like, mom guilt is like a phrase, like, people know what that means. It's become such a thing, but I want to unthing it. Like, I want it to not be such a big thing that, like, holds us back from certain things because, like you just said, it's not selfish to go away with your girlfriends or to go out for like coffee with like your close friend or to go on a date night or to just have some time like here and there, like you said, the little moments. It's not selfish, and I don't think we have to feel guilty about that. Like just so for example, last this is just a recent thing that's popped into my mind to share as an example. So Friday night, I planned to go and hang out with a close friend of mine who lives like 2 hours away. We like see each other maybe like once or twice a year, like not very much. And I didn't have to go. But the reason I did was the next day it was my grandmother's 90th birthday party. And my grandma has dementia, but we wanted to like all get together and just celebrate her. And I could have, if mum guilt was getting in the way, I would have driven the 2.5 hours to the party and then come back in the same day so that I could like have more time with my kids. However, because, and kind of what you were saying, it's like I've been so present with my kids, like and play with them like every night. Like I just love it. And I was like, okay, I actually feel this would be so fun. And it's not coming from empty, right? It's not coming from like, oh, I haven't spent any time for me lately. I really should go on the Friday night. It was like, I've had time for me. I've had time for my kids lately, but it would be really fun to go and hang out with my friend the night before. Have a sleepover at her place, like just talk for like a bajillion hours without even taking a breath. Like that sounds so delightful for me. I listened to podcasts on the way. I sang like Taylor Swift at the top of my lungs, and it was just so fun. And I came back from that trip like so energized. I was actually just so energized from it. We went like straight to like a family friend barbecue with the kids, and then all day on Sunday, I was like with them. And that's where I think is like maybe one of the examples or distinctions in what you were saying. It's like you're not giving to yourself because your cup's empty and you need to give it up. It's like you're able to come from overflow. So even if the outward action is the same, even if you're taking the friend trip, you're doing it from a place of overflow, not from that like
Yeah,
depleted
not because
state.
I'm already depleted and I need something to get me back to 100%. No, we want to be over 100%. We want
Maintain the
that.
overflow.
And
Yeah.
as soon as we can learn to tune in to know, oh, I'm actually hitting 90. Like, okay, that's okay. There's no judgment in that. It's like, all right, that I actually poured into a lot and that's good. But then I get to choose me, fill that up, and then some in that space, but not from a guilt like of like, oh my gosh, I hit rock bottom in that space.
Yeah. Yeah. One of my favorite ways to reduce guilt if it pops up, because now I just view it as like, oh, this is just something I get to look at, or there's just like maybe a little lesson or a perspective shift in there. It's like if I feel guilty, I just notice that. First of all, just noticing brings your power back, right? Like your awareness, you're separating yourself from a thought or a temporary feeling that you're having. And then I just look at it, I'm like, okay, what are my values? And I just tune into my values and I'm like, oh, the reason I'm feeling guilty or like my heart hurts at the thought of, doing XYZ for myself or leaving my kids when they're at home is because I actually really value being present with them and I value being with them on the weekends or whatever. And it's like, okay, thank you for,
Yes.
yes, that is a big value of mine.
That sensory.
And I have another value that honors like my friendships and time for myself and a delightful like drive where I can have some me time and just a night with myself. And I also value my kids having quality time with their dad and them, getting to do like a different experience than when I'm not at home. And it's like you can remind yourself that you have like multiple competing values, and maybe being a present mom is like your top value, and maybe that's why the guilt is coming up, but it's just an acknowledgement and reminder of like, oh yeah, we can feed in and pour in, like I said, like you said, like the different cups. You get to pour into those as well. And I think that just is a
They're all
good, I like that visual cue that you gave, because I think that's, yeah, just a reminder that we are multifaceted and we can pour into these like different areas. And then it's just kind of a matter of figuring out like the balance and like kind of the flow that just works for you in the season you're in, because it also that's always changing.
it's like creating not even necessarily balance because when you think it is balance, but most people when they
I
think balance,
know
it has to be
people,
equal. No.
balance is a loaded word in motherhood. Some people are like resonate with it, and other people are like, I cannot get that behind the word balance. When I think of balance, I don't think of two things being equal, like a scale. I
Ebb
actually
and
don't
flow.
think
That's how
of
I see
that.
it. Even if it is, this is the ebb and flow. Like that's the point. That is the flow. It's not supposed to be equal, but some people like their mind is so in that. So I'm like harmonize, whatever, like
Yeah.
the same thing. And let's
Yeah.
reframe what balance means because balance isn't just equal. Otherwise, I would say equal. Balance means it goes
Yeah.
up. This can go up for right now, and this one can go down, but it's not like in a bad way because then I
Right.
know that I'm going to be pouring in all of those things and as it goes, like even when you look at that champagne, like that's another thing that's coming to me is like you're pouring in the champagne tower. Okay, so the other ones look like they're depleted for a little bit, but I'm not worried about those cups because they are going to be refilled.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Totally. Yeah. I like that analogy. Like, and even the one you were using with the cups, like instead of maybe the word balance, we can use the word blend. So for like the season we're in. So, like a newly postpartum mom, sorry, I always have these examples just because it's the work that I do. So my head's in it. But um, most of your energy, time, attention is going towards meeting like the basic needs of your baby
Yeah.
and there's also a portion that you need to reserve for yourself to also meet your own needs. And I challenge also us to do beyond just the basic needs when we can. However, so your cup, the blend that's in your cup is going to be mostly made up of like your energy is going to the newborn, and a bit to yourself. But then later on, as they get a bit older, like with mine, for example, like my blend and where my time and energy is going, it's like to myself, to my physical health, to my kids, to my mental health, like to my business, to my podcast, to, coming on like as a guest podcast on yours. Like there is just more. There's just, and my cup is probably the same size, but I have like more
Your
ingredients in it.
energy can shift because the littles aren't needing they can do some more things on themselves. Their basic needs aren't
Totally.
just solely relied on you. And
Yeah.
remembering we go through seasons. So yes, the new birth season, they are 100% reliant on us, right? But
Yeah.
knowing that it's not always going to be that way. And we can tap out, not like permanently, you know what I mean? But I'm like, if I need that break, there's no guilt in that of saying I need 5 minutes. Like utilize our partners want to show up for us most of the time too. Like that's one thing that my husband and I talked about because I used to have extreme mom guilt with leaving the boys. And because I never really did. I had babies because I wanted to be present. Like that's what I said. Like I want to raise
Yeah.
them
Yeah.
until I realized like me being there and not choosing me and being able to do those away moments actually took from him because he wasn't able to be, not that he couldn't show up, but he loves, like I have three boys. He loves the bro nights. Like he loves to be able to have that boy time as well. And I realized like, oh, so I can fill that other cup that I have here. And I'm filling up and they're filling up at the same time. Isn't that beautiful? Like it's
Yeah.
reframing. And like we were saying with the guilt, how I look at it and how I share it with my clients is like guilt is literally she's like she pops in and she's not here to like do anything bad. She's not evil. She's just self-check of like, hey, like you said, it's like values. Like we said this, this, and this. Here's an old storyline that is carried in our DNA or our energetics that
Yeah.
the cycle that we've been living and our family has been living. Is this what we want to repeat? Like just letting you know, here are all the puzzle pieces. And then we have the power of going, okay, thanks for that information. But no, once again, the cycle's ending with us. We're not choosing to go down that path. We're finishing that piece. Or I like you said, you're like, oh, I can see that, and let me look from a different angle. Because like same thing with my husband's situation is like I'm looking at it. This is what I said I wanted. I wanted to be a present mom. This is why I wanted children. Now why do I feel guilty for wanting to go hang out with the girls? Like this is my one and only job in life. And then I had to realize like, oh, but if I would have just turned 45 degrees angles over here, I see all the other possibilities that open up when I do allow myself to have both in that. And it's kind of the difference of how I teach it is like the difference between a mask and a hat. Like motherhood is not our mask. It's not something that we just like put on and us disappears, right? It's like a
Yes.
cute little accessory, like diamond earrings or whatever, like whatever accessorize. It's supposed to amplify who we are. It is a beautiful, beautiful role. Like I love these diamond earrings. They're like my favorite part of my outfit, but I'm the one that makes the outfit. It's not just the earrings. And so it's doing that is not supposed to take completely over us and bury who we are. It's supposed to accentuate.
Ooh, I really love that. I love that so much. And I think motherhood is an invitation to, I don't know, not I don't know, but it's an invitation to look at all of it from like a more intentional place, like look at our priorities, look at our values, look at what we want our outfit to look like in this season, and it's just an invitation to do it and it benefits us by making like conscious choices about like, okay, how do I want to show up? Like how do I want to like model certain parts of life for my kids,
But
What
like
stories are
even
not mine? What did they say about moms that like I don't actually agree with? Like there are certain things about motherhood that I'm like, oh, I actually just don't want to subscribe to that. Um, like the complaining culture that can sometimes happen in like mom groups, for example, or like the comparison culture that can happen in mom groups. Like a lot of mom groups I just didn't join because I was like, I don't, that's not fun for me. That's not how I want to spend my time? And then, but there are so
and a
many
lot of it is
communities out
cycles.
there.
We don't even realize that what their your energy, where your focus goes, your energy flows. So when we lean into that, there's a difference between like expressing and then
Yeah.
feeding a story. Like, does that make
Yes.
sense? Like, and sometimes it's in that. And I think it is the comparison in the insecurity game that comes up a lot of the times. I even noticed that in Mother's Day. And it's all of these like parts of us, right? Like there, you don't like lose those insecurities per se. It's just sometimes they come to visit and you go, oh, hi. And you sit with them and you're like, okay, but that isn't my truth. But thank you for mirroring that old feeling so I can move through and release another layer of that. Like on Mother's
Yeah.
Day, like we have this idea sometimes, like the difference between expectations and standards. Like we have this idea of how, oh, Mother's Day is supposed to be this grand thing. And if it doesn't like turn out, we can have almost like this little sad like resentment starting to build up, not like meaning to. And then you have guilt for having it, especially when you look on social media and like, oh, look at all these other moms being like loved on and all of that. But then we have to remember like that's a highlight reel. Like that wasn't their whole day, I'm sure. They didn't get like praised on and put, I mean, some awesome, but I mean, I'm sure that
Yes, they
mom
did.
wasn't just all about that because most kids like they're kids. There's still there's still children, you know what I mean? In that space, and it's going, okay, well, where's the reality, and why do I even want that? Like, what, I don't want to put my children to completely forget them and their needs and just focus on mine either, because that's not what I model. But it's just the opportunity to go, ooh, okay, I just got triggered by that a little bit, and this is coming up, and this feeling's here for a reason, and I get to work through this. And what does that mean? Oh, that means like, and then I sat there and I'm like, oh, those are more perfection cycles of what I got when my mom thought she had to be perfect in everything to be honored and celebrated. And then I
Mm.
actually realized that I feel like I'm not showing up and being enough. And so it's actually those insecurities that are coming up. It's not that my children don't love me. in that space. And my children did do nice things for me, but it's like, realizing that, like, oh, and having those radical, honest moments with myself in that space is going, like, I think that's the inner devotion that it's all about, is being honest with myself and not bypassing. Because I could have said, oh, stop being silly, whatever, and just pushed on. No, I have to allow myself to feel it first. Like, we don't,
Mm,
like, yes, we get to move and alchemize it, but if I don't actually acknowledge that it's there, it's literally putting the blanket on the elephant in the room and pretending it's not there.
right. Yeah. I think motherhood is like such an amplifier in a lot of ways, and it brings this stuff up on purpose. It brings up triggers on purpose. It brings up just, yeah, things for us to look at on purpose. And it's like you said, it's so that we can decide what we want to keep and in like intentionally, and what we want to just like shift, even perspective shift. Like you said, it's like the perfectionist thing too. It's like you're perfect for who you are,
Yes.
and I was writing an email recently about anxiety, and I'm like, and the message within that email was like, you can rewire your anxiety. And I think a lot of like the thoughts we have, or like the spirals we can go on, or the things that can trigger us, or the things that can kind of derail our mental health, they're not always us. It's like something we've latched onto. It's like maybe a thought pattern we've latched onto, a behavior or a habit we've just been shown or modeled or whatever, taken on at some point in our lives. And then I think it's just so powerful to remember that there are things that we can shift like bit by bit, like not a perfectionist thing. Like it's not like our anxiety can just like melt away overnight, or if there is a way, I want to learn that and teach others one day. But what I teach anyway around anxiety or triggers or things like that is like we can look at them and like bit by bit just like make a little shift. And as we do it, to kind of counteract that perfectionism thing, just have self-compassion and like grace on ourselves as we do it, not be so hard on ourselves as we do it. And even that shift in and of itself is huge, because if we have like kinder inner voices, that's gonna come out, and that's gonna benefit our kids, hopefully.
Yeah. And how I look at that, even with the anxiety and things, it's all about building a relationship. It's understanding what's the purpose of anxiety. And you know what I mean? Like, so know, if you actually create a relationship and you know that the anxiety is coming because I feel a disconnection and a lack of self-trust. I'm doubting myself. And there's a worry because I want to be safe. I want the best outcome for me. And so all of a sudden this like micromanaging aspect of me comes through. And when I know that, I can show her love and thank her for being here and thanking her for loving me enough. And this doesn't have to take a very long time, but then I can calm the nervous system, because the emotions are linked with the nervous system, right? And when I know the role she plays, then I can show up for her in the same way she's showing up for me, and finding that it's an actually beautiful, intimate relationship. And that's what I actually do in my program. So the experience, one of the pillars is the emotional rebirth, and that's creating a relationship with all of your emotions. And I have like an emotional, almost like dating profile, like database. So you actually start getting to know the emotions and how they show up for you. What does the energy feel like? What does it look like? Where does it show up in your body? And so then when you get those feelings, you know, oh, is that anxiety? Or actually is that this that's masking? Because a lot of times they'll pretend like, you'll think you're angry, but really you're not necessarily angry. Anger is like piggybacking and riding on the back of the sadness or the pain because it feels better. And so then we can peel the layers. Normally it's not one emotion, it's a layer of them together.
Mm-hmm. That reminds me of IFS, which I always forget the acronym. It's like internal family systems, I think.
Yep, I think that's correct.
Um, just the idea that there are like different parts of us,
Yes.
but there are also like different feelings, like different emotions, like different things. And like you said, I think we just also invite so much compassion in when you know that they're working for us in some way, maybe to protect us, you know? And there's she's a psychologist or a psychotherapist or something. Her name is Cheryl, and I'm forgetting her last name, but she frames anxiety as a gift,
Mhm.
and she calls it like the gifts of anxiety. And it's kind of like you said, you can develop a relationship with those parts, and you can ask them, like, you can even say, like, what is the gift that you have for me today? And you're gonna get like a beautiful answer. And a lot of the time, I don't know if you found this, Jackie, through your coaching, it's a younger part of us that is holding on to something or working really hard in a certain way to protect us from something. And then when you have that relationship with the different parts of yourself and you have a conversation, kind of like what you were saying, then, or it is what you were saying, I think if I
Yeah, yeah, that's a
interpret
lot
it
of my work
correctly.
is parts integration.
Okay,
It's whether it's your
amazing.
mental, emotional, physical. That's the my whole world.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. So we're speaking the same language on this one, or we've both, I think, experienced the benefits because then when you realize it's like a younger part of you that is helping you, it's like you can just have so much compassion for like a baby, or you can have so much compassion for a toddler or a little child, you know? And then you can kind of turn that back towards yourself because that's why this is showing up for you. And then it also, what I found too, it's like the parts of ourselves that we're like afraid to dig deeper into, or we're afraid of like, what if we reveal something or uncover something about ourselves that is like too scary to come back from. When the more you do it, the more you realize you're like, no, it's like, in my experience anyway, it's always been a younger part of myself. And maybe that part is also um, carrying things from past generations or
And normally
ancestors or
it's
whatever.
scary only because it's unknown. So it looks
Mm.
like scary, and then once you get to know and you see the intentions and see the part, like you are love, you are all love. Even if
Hmm.
the actions don't look like it in certain points where they're acting up and you're self-sabotaging and like, how is that love? No, because there's always a root of in that. Like when your self-sabotage comes through, it's going, oh, okay, this is our normal. This is where we're integrated. This is our comfort, familiar zone, and we're stretching past that. And I don't know, my nervous system's not regulated for this next chapter yet. And so really when that comes up, it's going, oh, I see the disharmony here. I'm actually my energy is here. This is an energy alchemy thing. This is not a mindset thing. It's not that I don't believe or whatever. All I need is to
Yeah.
upgrade my nervous system. I need to upgrade my energy system to match the new part. And that's
Yeah.
all it is. It's just a little fine tune. It's just like on a radio, just a
Okay.
little shift.
So, do you have a practical example that comes to mind when, or like a practice for that integration piece, that little dial shift?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the person, like, because there's no right way to do it. But how I look at it
No.
is when I get those trigger moments, I get those things. All of those are signals for me. Like that's why I say every part of me, the world is mirroring to me. Like sacred motherhood is a portal to me. Like everything's a mirror. And so when I get those moments and I realize, okay, I'm feeling this frustration because that's also in human design, I'm a generator. So when that comes up, I also know, okay, something's not in alignment here. And a lot
Mm-hmm.
of the times I realize I'm I'm playing in the old energy, my old identity. I'm actually in the in between. A
Ooh.
lot of the times we operate in the in between. So I'm 1 foot in the old energy and I'm 1 foot in the new energy. So that's how I visualize it. Oh, okay. I feel like I'm not fully in that alignment space. I'm not in the harmony space because some people don't necessarily understand like alignment. It's not once again a straight line. It's the harmony, everything flowing, ebb and flowing. So I realize that I'm not 100% anchored into this new identity yet. I have the mind pieces. I've upgraded the nervous system. My energy is just hovering over this space, but it's in between because it's not like here and here, like side by side. It's actually overlapping and it's that fine tune like a radio. So how I see it is I have 1 foot in one foot in the other. I grieve the old one. This is my process.
Oh,
Allowing
yeah.
myself to think and give myself that moment of grieving and gratitude and honoring for that old chapter because it's like a chapter of a book, right?
That's
And
so
so
beautiful, Jackie.
that's how I shift the energy of going like this isn't the end. This is just the beginning. So I'm thanking that part and going, okay, and we get to stretch. And I don't look at it as like we're cutting that part out, right? No, actually, I'm taking that part
I
with
agree. I
It's like
so
a
agree
book.
with that.
You're not cutting that chapter out of a book when you go to the next book. That chapter, that story, that essence is going into the next chapter. And that's how I look at it. That's why I see it overlapping. It's we're changing into this new energy and we have one foot still in this part, one here. We're actually bringing that in, but we have to grieve it and
Mm,
allow it to go to the ashes to be reformed and take that energy into the alchemy of the new chapter. So, but to do that, we have to honor that there's two pieces and we're in between, right? And we
mm.
have to honor where we were so we can take it to go forward.
Oh, I really love that. That is just like so beautiful. When you first started talking, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get like teary-eyed. That's just, yeah, such a beautiful way. And I totally agree with you because you may have noticed this. Like I've just noticed in like the spiritual space, sometimes it's like burn it all down, or like you have to, your old identity has to die. And it's never resonated with me anyway. Maybe like I can see how different tools resonate with different people. So maybe some
Yeah.
people need that. For me, I've always felt like, yeah, I want to bring her along with me. It's like I loved your book thinking because it's like bringing the main character through in different life stages. It's like what makes her her now is because of everything she has
Everything.
been through. So I just really think it's
That's why
just,
I
yeah,
like that part because I wouldn't
yeah,
be like without the abuse and everything that I've gone through in my life, I wouldn't be this loving, caring being. I mean, to the same capacity. I mean, I think that
yeah.
is part of who I am no matter what, but in those spaces, it allowed me to shift the way I view the world, shift what
Mm,
I stand for, what I desire in life, and find my power to because all of those things allow me to reclaim my power back and go,
mm,
okay, thank you for holding it. Thank you. Like even okay, this is another thing that is really helpful. When somebody is really triggering you,
mm.
um, is actually there's twofold. I see their inner child. Like I see them as a child when they're doing that because
Yes.
that is what's acting out. It's a hurt part of them, right? So it's
Mm,
easier to show compassion in that space. But then as you go through that and that's how you start, you actually will see that face actually mirror back to you because all they are a mirror. If it's triggering you,
mm,
there's something in you that they are showing. So then I see them and then it transforms into a part of me.
mm,
Oh, little Jackie is hurt because all she wanted growing up was somebody to say, "Are you okay?" And when she said
mm,
fine, not to just let her be, to know she shouldn't have to say it, to know she's not okay.
mm,
And actually show up for her and fight for her in that space. That's what she wants. And when people close the door on that space, I'm like, I'm in, what I'm doing is exactly what I wanted as a child. And so actually my inner child's pissed not at them, just that is this is what she desired. And when I can honor that, then I can have compassion of going, actually, this has nothing to do with the other person and everything to do with me.
mm.
And that's the invitation here for me to come back to me and love on that person and say, it's okay that that's how life was, but I get to show up for me now. And it's all right. And that's a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think all this, yeah, just all of this work, yeah, I just feel like you have been through a lot and you have so much wisdom, like wisdom not just from knowledge, but from living and breathing it.
Yep.
So
Well, and
I
that's
just know you're such an
yeah.
amazing mom and like you're so amazing with your clients. And I just see how
And
you
that's the
have
core
like,
of what I do is
yeah.
taking the wounds to wisdom. Everybody has that wisdom when we allow ourselves to sit with the wounds. And that doesn't mean, so yes, feel it to heal it. People are like, oh, that's so cliche. Yes, there's a difference though. It's like you have to feel it and allow yourself to open up and truly feel it and understand it and be with it. And that's there's stages to that. And it's not about
Hmm.
re-traumatizing. Like some people were like, okay, we got to
No.
re-traumatize you. No, that's not what it is. It's just to observe. And a lot of times it's from different angles. And what I didn't allow myself to say and experience and feel and what did I numb out because it wasn't acceptable. And just loving on myself for that and going, "Oh, okay. I see how you're trying to your safety mechanism, your survival modes were kicking in. But now we're in a different space. This is how I look at to feel it to heal it. Now we're in a different regulated space. I won't ever like make you go into something when you're already in this regulated state. We're going to regulate,
Right.
we're going to create that safety bubble and And when you feel that starting to, like, as you feel, I help ground back in. So we're in that. So then you remind your nervous system, like, yes, we're experiencing this memory and this energy, right? Our mind doesn't know if it's happening in real life or not. But we're bringing it into a regulated space where we're literally hugging ourselves as we experience it. So it's not re traumatizing. It's allowing yourself to have different tools and things that you didn't have in the moment to actually honor the process that you were feeling because you're in thriving mode, not survival mode anymore. So you've used those survival
Mm,
tools to actually alchemize the situation.
I think that's
How you
beautiful.
bring your parts home.
Yeah, you just gave me like an idea of something that now I want to like do this afternoon after we talk. It's like, um, and maybe if I share this example for the listeners, it will like make them think of something that like a practice we can do based on what you just said. So this popped into my mind and I tend to trust it, like memories and stuff that I'm like, oh, now is a chance to look at this and heal this. So the summer I got married, I was in 2017, 2016. Um, I started to get like GI issues. Basically, my one symptom is bloating, but it's like been like that for I've been married for like almost 10 years. And it got completely better when I was pregnant every time and postpartum, which was so cool. But then between it's come back. And that summer and in the lead up to like the wedding, there was just a lot going on because the week before I got married, my wedding was canceled, or my wedding venue shut down. And this was pre-COVID wedding, so it wasn't a thing that weddings were canceled. I did not know to expect this. So, and I put so much, kind of like the perfectionist thing you were saying, like I had just put for my whole life, I like dreamed of my wedding and I just put so much thought into like the venue and the vibe and the energy and just so much, I had so much fun planning the wedding. I just loved it. And then, yeah, the week before, oh, my wedding venue unexpectedly got shut down. But there were so many blessings that I got in that week that I won't go into just because that will just take ages. But it was something jarring to my nervous system that I had to work through. And in the time, I just chose to be present and I chose to enjoy it and be with my family. And the wild thing is, one of the parts of the new venue that I ended up getting to move to, it was like more beautiful than my original one, which was so cool. Um, but yeah, it just made me, and I was also working full time and doing my PhD at the same time. So I just had a lot on my plate and like too much for my capacity, you know? I didn't have enough capacity to be able to
You need
give in all of those ways. And I think my nervous system has held on to something, like something didn't get digested, literally, you know? And so now I'm gonna just do like a practice this afternoon, and maybe for the listeners, it's like based on what Jackie was just saying, is like, is there a part or a memory or something that you want to alchemize now? Like, what's the first memory that comes to mind that you can alchemize? And I love that visual you gave of like hugging yourself and like, yes, have also, if it feels more right, go to someone like Jackie who can guide you through this process, right? Because it also is so helpful to have support for a lot of these things. But that's something I'm going to do this afternoon. I've just done similar things enough times that I'm just going to do that.
Well, and start
Uh,
playing. Like it doesn't, you don't always have to have
Yeah.
somebody else guiding you through. You are the medicine. You are the self-healer. That's what I teach is I want to break the codependency cycle. I
Yeah,
want
and that's why I
the
think it
tools
doesn't
and
have to
confidence
be.
to be able to do that. Some things are heavier and a little more nerve-wracking that you need, not that you need, but it's helpful to have that catalyst, that guide to help bring you back when you start
Yeah,
spiraling a little bit. But a lot
yeah,
of it, so start playing something small, something that doesn't like totally shake your nervous system, but there's still some
right.
irritants. Start playing that way and show yourself how powerful you really are.
Yeah, I love that. And you're so right. It's like there's it doesn't have to be codependent to have support. It's like use your discernment. What feels right and good and true to you? And like for me, sometimes it's being guided through something. A lot of the times it's by myself or listening to a guided meditation or, there's just so many options available. And I think that's why it's so powerful and important to harness and hone into our intuition, especially as moms, because a lot of these things, yeah, it's just like a little moment to moment decisions of like, okay, what's what's like delightful to me right now, or what's going to be healing or restorative or regenerative or whatever to me right now, and then trust ourselves for the answer that comes up.
And it's baby steps. So even if that one decision, we put so much pressure, like, oh my gosh, if I make the wrong decision. Okay, so if you look on a path, so you take one
Yeah.
step to the right, to the edge of the path, it's okay. You can take the next step left. Even if you take 12 steps right, you still can go left. Like, it's not like
Yeah. Take the scenic route.
yeah, it will be okay. And everything is meant to be. So you may took it off the path way around, but you found something in the process. It's
Hmm.
trusting that everything is unfolding in the most beautiful way if you allow yourself to look through that lens.
I feel that. So good.
This is sorry, the dog wants to come say hi. I think somebody came to the door. But this is such a beautiful podcast. Is there anything you want to wrap up before we close?
No, just like trust your intuitions. And it's like so fun to actually do that, like moment to moment, day by day.
Hold on. He's probably not gonna stop. Well, thank you everyone for listening, and thank you, Emma, for this beautiful conversation. How can they get a hold of you and be in your world if they are resonant? And I know that you have some beautiful things coming up, so please share about that.
Thank you, Jackie. So probably the best place since we're on a podcast. I have a podcast called the My Lighter Way podcast. It's all about motherhood, mindset, manifesting. You can also find me at My Lighter Way on Instagram. And yeah, I have a program called My Lighter Motherhood that helps moms prepare for postpartum and specifically prepare themselves on mindset, emotional energy levels for the newborn stage. So it just feels lighter, and I have a new masterclass that is coming out super soon that I'm so excited about. I'll ask Jackie to drop the link in the show notes, but it's mylighterway.com/masterclass. And it's for expecting mums. And it's to help you learn what the 7 parts of postpartum are that mums tend to find the hardest. And then we start to bring an energy of ease into every single one of them in the masterclass. So I'm super excited to release that.
I'm so excited. Yes, Emma is such an amazing soul. And if this is the place that you are in your journey, I highly recommend get into her spaces. Let her be that support, that warm mama love that you're needing for in this chapter. So thank you so much, Emma, for being a part of this podcast.
Thank you, Jackie.